Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. Welcome to our Share Your Passion program for tonight, which is going to be retirement fun, starring our own Loren Hurwitz. Just a little bit of background about Loren. He's had a 31-year professional career in and around information technology, but also was volunteering in many nonprofits, including Lambertville Historical Society. He's taught religious school in Reform, Reconstructionist, and conservative synagogues. He's been a member of the Congregation of Beth since around 1994, but since retirement, which has been a while ago, he has really pretty much become a professional retiree. He is going to teach us tonight how to really master the fun part of retirement and come all kinds of good things we can do. So Loren, I give it to you. You're on record.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for coming. Before I begin, I want to especially thank my wife for encouraging me to do this, and also for her technical help in making this happen, as well as Helene. Thank you both very much. And we'll see how well the technical side.
Loren, you need to be a little louder.
Need to be a little louder.
Yes.
Do you have your speaker up? Anybody else having a problem?
I do, I think. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, you seem pretty clear, Loren, now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Margaret.
You're welcome.
So my objective tonight, as Helene mentioned, is to share some ways that I've kept myself busy over the last 25 years, but I also want to learn some things from who's ever watching to help me fill in my goal of being retired for a total of 31 years, which is the amount of time I actually work. So at the end or during this, if you'd like to share what you've been doing, that would be great for me. My initial plan for retirement was actually pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I was going to wake up, eat breakfast, go for a walk, take a nap, wake up, eat lunch, go for a walk, come back, take a nap, wake up, eat supper, take a walk, and then come home and go to sleep. But I realized doing that, I wouldn't really be doing anything. And when you do nothing, it's sort of hard to know when you're finished. So I had to get busy. Besides the title of Retirement Fun, I also thought of these subtitles for this presentation. One would be Spending My Kids' Inheritance. Another is Providing More Things to Collect Dust, Getting Ready for the Nursing Home Activities, and Leaving Behind More Stuff for My Kids to eventually deal with. So I realized that the passions that I'm going to talk about tonight are actually the passions that I had as a kid. They were trains and music and photography and tying knots, taking things apart to see how they work, building models, and learning how new technologies work. And you'll see that religion has seeped into many of these little projects I've done. And to begin with, I had looked up, so I did some research to see if retirement is mentioned in the Torah, and it is in Bamidbar, chapter 28, that's Numbers, chapter 28. We find this, and I'm going to share my screen and see if we can make this happen. Say hello. There we go. Okay, let's get it a minute to clear up. There it is. Okay, so you see in verse 25, we're talking about the Levites and their work in the tent of meeting. And it says, but at the age of 50, they shall retire from the workforce and shall serve no more. So I explored a little bit what this meant, and there are many commentaries. One by Rashi is the one that I sort of adhere to. what he felt that it meant was that the Levites had to refrain from doing the heavy physical work of maintaining the tabernacle and the tent of meeting. But afterwards, they were required to still be productive and in some other ways like singing or playing musical instruments. And in general, he believed it was important to stay productive in any possible way, even in times of retirement. So that's what I've been trying to do, besides doing the standard things that we do when we retire, like volunteer and travel and exercise. I returned, as I said, to some of the passions that I had as a kid. And that's what I want to share with you tonight. So the first one I'll talk about is trains. Trains have, I was interested in trains for a very long time. I got my first train by winning a coloring contest. I was 5 years old. A local grocery store had a contest. They gave you a coloring book and you had to complete the coloring book and then complete the coloring book, with the designs of the packaging. So we went to the store, my mother and I, and she was not very happy because one of the big products we had to buy was a can of ham. And after we bought it, she was looking around the store the whole time trying to see if anybody was going to see her buying ham, because of course we were keeping kosher and this would not work. So the first page I filled out was the picture of the ham. And as soon as that was done, my mom gave it to our neighbor. But I did win the train. It was a Lionel. I still have it. It probably still runs, but right now it's put away. But I did get into trains again, maybe 2 months ago for myself. My son, as some of you know, has a YouTube channel which he discusses model railroading. And during one of the live streams, somebody was talking about a Lego train. And I've had Lego trains in the past, but I went online and I found that indeed they now have more. So this is a city cargo train. And I apologize for the junk that's on the table. I'm apologizing really to my wife. But I was running this particular video because I can't just have one of something. I have to have two. So I bought a second one. This is a passenger train, and you'll notice as it's going around, it stops, and I had to help it a little bit. So these videos were done for the Lego support people, so they could sort of figure out what was going on. And the embarrassing thing was that the reason it was stopping was, even though I had put in new batteries, the battery package apparently was outdated. And so the batteries were failing. And I, though, was able to get them both working. And here they are. Why isn't that going away? Going around, and you'll watch at the end, they're going to come together, and we pray that this one is going to back up fast enough not to get hit by the yellow one. Look at that. And it's going to come all the way back around, and then I'm going to park it again. Okay, so that was my first passion. When Betty and I decided to downsize and move here to Lambertville or move somewhere, the criteria that I had was twofold. One is I had to have a 2-car garage, and the other was I wanted to make sure I had room for trains. And I do have room, I just don't have them out that much. But I do stay with the Lego, and I'm enjoying that. At the end of a day of doing nothing and being stressed out from doing nothing, I'll still go downstairs and play with my my train. Okay, so the next the next thing I got involved with was music in a different way. Growing up, I played the string bass. You know, some of you might know as the contrabass or the contrabass. It's the large string instrument that you see in an orchestra. I started when I was in the 4th grade. It worked out real well for me when I became driving age because since it was so large, I couldn't expect my friends' parents to drive me around. So my folks would allow me to drive the car. And we used to actually buy cars based on the size of the trunk to make sure that the bass would fit in it. And the way to establish that is I literally would lay down in the back of the trunk and see if I fit, then we knew the bass fit. Sometime in college, I gave it up. And maybe 4 years ago, I decided I was going to take up a string instrument again. I still had been playing piano. And I decided to go to the ukulele. The ukulele is a very fun instrument to play. It's generally known as an accompaniment instrument. You're supposed to sing with it. Those of you who are just heard me davening know I don't sing so well, but I was having fun. And for all the new hobbies I had, I would first buy a toy. So this ukulele that I'm circling, I hope you can see it with the cursor, is actually a toy ukulele. It's now at my daughter's. It came with a book and a CD to learn how to play, and I started to play it. Eventually, Flo, I think, got tired of hearing me play Mary Had a Little Lamb and This Old Man and Frere Jacques and whatnot. She suggested I take lessons. So I found somebody that was willing to give me a lesson, and I actually started to play on this toy ukulele. My hands are not what they used to be. So it was hard for me to navigate on the fretboard here. The strings are very close together. So we talked, and he suggested that I might want to move up. So I bought this ukulele in the center, which is known as a tenor. And it helped a little bit. The fretboard is a little bit wider, which meant that the strings are further apart, which meant it was going to be a little bit easier. But because my knuckle in the on my index fingers is frozen, there's a pin in it due to arthritis, it was still hard for me to bridge over the strings. So I decided I would get a concert ukulele. And this is the concert ukulele. And what's nice about that is, or at least for me, is I made it. So I found a kit. I decided I couldn't really justify buying another fairly expensive instrument. So I bought this kit, and over time I put it together and I customized it a little bit. LD is my nickname from years ago. Played it and learned to play it. But after a while, again, it was just too much for my hands. So unfortunately, I stopped playing that, but I had fun doing it, and it gave me another opportunity to learn to do something new and different. Okay, another passion I had as a child, as a kid, was photography. My paternal grandfather, my dad's father, was a professional photographer up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we would take our family vacations there. And over time, I became interested. When he passed away, my cousin, who literally lived next door to him, got all the equipment, which made sense. I was living in Ohio. My cousin was next door in Minneapolis. So he took all the equipment. We made a dark room over time. And during the summer months, I would visit, and we would do our version of Photoshop, but write on negatives, and we would print our own pictures. We'd use a slide projector as an enlarger, and we just generally had fun. We took a lot of videos of family events. I should say he did, and I helped carry the bags around. He was a little bit older than I am, but it was fun and it was meaningful to me. Whenever we went on trips, we now mostly being Flo and I did take a lot of pictures, and I would either come back and make a photo book or calendars. And what you see here are the calendars on, if you can make it out, it says our trips 2011 to 2019. We did not travel this year because of COVID, or last year. So Flo had the idea that I should make a collage, if you will, of all our past trips. So that's what's on this page, which is the front page of the calendar. And then the inside, I would take pictures of and place the individual places we visited. So these are scenes from Italy. We have two of them. One's in the office where I'm sitting now. One's down in our kitchen, and it's actually a nice way to remember the trips. Probably one of our favorite trips was when we took my daughter's family to Israel back in 2016, and I did make a book. Also made a book for Panama, our Panama tour, plus several others. One of the things that's missing now, and I don't know if you can really see it, but my stomach here is diminished a little bit over COVID. Has everybody seen the pictures okay? Can somebody sort of let me know?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And I found your stomach.
Okay, good.
It's on me now, yeah.
Very good. Okay, so something that I spent a lot of time doing, believe it or not, was tying knots. I would take a piece of string and I could sit all day or all night and tie a knot in that string, but not just, of course, one knot. I would tie knots until the whole string was knots. I would do it on trips. I would do it sitting in front of the TV. Sometimes I would sit in the basement with in my dad's real big comfortable chair that had two really nice wooden arms, and I would take a clothesline and tie myself into the clothesline as I watched a cowboy show. My big fear was I would be all tied up and there'd be a fire in the house and I wouldn't be able to get out. Over time, I got over that fear. But string has a attraction to me. I can't really explain it. These are pictures of what they call weekenders. Those of you who do cross stitch. My late wife got into cross stitch when she got ill. I joined her, and they were fun to do. Something we could do together. It was something I could do while I was in the hospital with her. At one point I counted and I had about 100 of these little weekenders all over the house. I think my daughter was gracious enough to take most of them for me. But I did move on to doing some things a little bit more challenging. This is a tefillin and tallis bag. It took me a while to do it. When I sent them off, I sent them to the company. It was called in the days Everything Jewish. The woman made them into the actual bag for me, sent them back, and she sent them back with a note that there are very few people that have actually made them or stayed with them, made them both. Bear with me 1 second. Huh. Okay, we'll do this. Why are my pictures not advancing? Huh. Bear with me. This worked so well before. Well, what I would show you if I could, and I will eventually, is not that. I will show you this also, but I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you this. Okay. So this is a cross stitch of what they call the motif number 1 from Rockport, Mass. It is supposed to be one of the most frequently painted scenes. Flo and I did our honeymoon in Rockport, and I bought this. It was folded up in a very small little package. I thought it was a weekender. This actually took me 8 years to complete. Of course, not working steady on it, but with everything else getting in the way. So, but I was really happy the way that came out. Okay, so I mentioned that I have this thing about toys and using toys. What you see on the left here, this is a Weave It. Some of you will recognize it as the old version of what kids use today with a little plastic loom to make pot holders. Okay, I found this in the basement at one cleanup time. It obviously went through many, many moves. You can see the box is torn. I believe this was either my mother's or maybe even perhaps my grandmother's, her mother. But it is a way to weave little squares. And I had to think about what I was going to do and how to use it. This thing on the right is called a lucet. And a lucet was used in the early settlements of the US and probably obviously over in England. Through this hole, you pull thread. You're actually tying knots, which then becomes the ties for your clothes, because we didn't have buttons or zippers. Everything used to be tied. So I would use that. And then I came across something called a Kumi Himo loom. You don't see the word hemo here. And I found that interesting. I forget exactly when I first saw it, but I decided to make one again before I bought it, just to see if I was going to be able to handle it. And then eventually I did buy one. To me, tying knots and stringing beads came together. So after buying a toy loom, which I've since given to my cousin's grandson or granddaughter, forget which actually, I ended up buying a rather large bead loom. Actually, Flo bought it for me after I groveled a little bit and said, you know what, this beading stuff is really neat, but I really need a big loom, and the loom's sort of expensive. So she bought it for me. And then I moved into weaving on a actual loom. This is called a cricket loom. Okay, so those are just essentially toys that now I had to do something with. So I started to make jewelry for Flo. This is a necklace and a pair of earrings. The stitch is called a peyote, P-E-Y-O-T-E, and it was very fun. The interesting thing about it, for those who've done beading will know, that there's actually straws inside of here, plastic drinking straws that help hold the shape. And then I decided to start doing a little bit more beading, getting a little bit fancier. And then of course, I had to do something with Judaism. So I made a set with the Stars of David, the Magen David, so necklace and jewelry. I decided at some point, you know, enough is for Flo. I should do something for myself, which I'll show you in a little bit. as soon as I stop messing with the mouse. I figured out what's happening is I hitting the mouse faster than it's moving. Okay, this is actually Flo's belt, a belt I made for Flo. It's beads. This was not done on a loom. And the different patterns that you see here were actually patterns that I had used in making Mezuzah cases. And I'll show you a Mezuzah case in a little bit. So I like to redo things or reuse them. So here's the Mezuzah case. This one's hanging in our basement. I've made several of these over the years. And I just decided I really like the pattern. This happened to be needlepoint. I turned it into something for beading. And then what I started to say is enough for Flo. So I made some belts. I designed these belts when we were on different cruises. And then I would come home and start to assemble them. One of my goals now is to revisit these. I had to stop wearing them because I gained too much weight. Now that I've lost weight, I'd like to wear them again, but some of the it needs some repair. So, but this was a lot of fun. Okay, so now I went from the toy looms and using beads and whatnot. I decided it was time to make my own beads. These are paper beads. And at one point, I must have had well over 200 of these paper beads. They're made from the catalogs of touring companies. I literally took the catalog and would cut them up and roll these beads and then lacquer them. And I made quite a bit of jewelry. This is, again, my stuff. These are bracelets I used to wear. These are rings I made for myself out of beads. There's a bead bracelet. This ring, you can't see very well. This ring is actually out of metal. I learned how to wire with metal a little bit. I duplicated a ring that one of our guys on one of our trips wore that I really liked. So I felt, hey, what the heck? I would do that. And then, of course, at some point, I realized I have just too much extra material around, too many beads. So I started to think about what I could do with all the extra material. I made napkin ring. If you remember that one set of jewelry, this was the ring I had made for Flo. Now it's a napkin ring. And then these are coasters that I made from the extra leftover beads. Okay, so being married to a cantor, I realized that one of her fashion statements is the various tally tote that she wears. And she mentioned one time that she wanted a white lacy tallis. So I decided to give it a go. And I went to a fabric store, bought this piece of fabric and finished it off with the press-on hem material that had fringes on it, added the tzitzit. Here I was in heaven here because I was starting to tie tzitzit, which is a lot of fun, by the way, if you've never done it. So I made her a tallis. I made her other tally tote. This material I just thought really nice and blue. Up here it says Chana Bluma and David Levy, which is her name and my name. So I laid this out. I actually sent this away, or the drawing away, to a place in Brooklyn, and sent them the Atara material. That's the band that goes on the top by the tallies, that at the top of the tallis, and asked them to sew it on for me, which they did. And once again, I wanted to put things together that I had been doing. So this is a full tallis that I made for Flo. it's beaded. And you can see here a patch. That is a patch from the Weave It. That's one of the squares from the Weave It, as is the material that the Atara is on. Now the Taos designed it. It actually came out pretty nice, if I can say so myself. The problem is it became very heavy. So we agreed that Flo would only wear it for Yontif. So here, on this side of the talis, it says, I need Dodi, the Dodi Li, I am my beloved is mine. I have the last half of the Hebrew alphabet, see the Lamed, Mem, Nun, all the way through. And again, here are the squares from the Weave It and the tine of the tzitzit. And on the other side of the talus are our names again, Chana Bluma and David Lady. So Flo reminded me that she remembers me laying this all out and designing it and putting it together. I might revisit and do it again at some point. I'm thinking now of actually having this framed, but we'll see what happens. The Atara, again, the part that goes around the neck, this says Dalif Ne Me Ata Ome, know before whom you stand. All these blue were the patches I made from the Weave It. And these are all beads. And as I say, it just became very heavy. Okay, so once again, I did stuff for Flo. I decided it was time for me to do things. This is a talus I made for myself, totally of the Weave It. I forget how many squares I made, but after I made them, I sewed them all together, or wove them all together, made the corner pieces again, the atara, tied on the tzitzit. Then I decided to move from the Weave It to an actual loom. These were some practice pieces using the loom placemat I made. This is a sample, learn how to do different patterns. And eventually I made myself another talus. This talus is meaningful to us because the Atara material and these corner pieces come from a place in Jerusalem called Yad Lakish, which if you've never been to Jerusalem, or if you've been to Jerusalem and have not visited this, you should go. It's a home workshop where refugees, adult refugees come and they learn how to do this material or make these things. They make jewelry and everything else. Here's another woven talus for myself. The words up here say Teshuvah, Tefillah, Tzedakah. Very popular phrase during, of course, Yontif. This became a Yontif talus. And then I made matching talitot. And these talitot have the colors of the jewels that were on the breastplate that the priests wore. So this is all things that just have kept me busy. Here's now a whole combination of things. You see here the Weave It being used, some beading, and this is set hemo work. This is almost like a lantern that you would make at school. This is also a Weave It. And then this is a woven purse. When we go on cruises, Phil would say, you know, I'm tired of carrying my big purse around. I need something to throw in a wallet or tissues or keys and all this. So I just decided to make something for her. And then on the practical side, we have a lot of drafts in our room, in the house. These are window snakes. So I wove some material and then got some stuffing and I stuffed it, and it works. And then I went and started to make some kippah or kippot. This one combines, whoops, sorry. This one combines beads and then the cord. And this one I made is all a whole cord. So that was the weaving, or that's the weaving. That's the my tying knots. Still a lot of fun for me. One of the other things I did as a kid was models. I mentioned the train. I used to also make model airplanes, but I was always building something or taking something apart. Family legend is when I was around 3, I took apart the front door lock of our house. And when my mother caught me, I said, don't worry, I'll put it back. I did put it back. The only problem was I put it back backwards so that when the knob was in the what would normally be the lock position, it was actually open, and was in the lock position was actually closed. And my fear is I'm having to do it again this week because our front door lock is recently broken. So I'm going to hopefully put it together properly. But that continued for quite a while. My daughter goes off to work after college. She wants IKEA furniture for her bedroom. She wants it all white, not a problem. We buy it. She wants one more thing. I go and get it for her. Of course, I get it black, not white. That was the first problem. Second problem is I put it together backwards as well. But that's life. When I started to do puzzles again, besides trying to keep the theme of trains, I was also looking for puzzles that had shapes. So that was obviously a train puzzle. Here, these are all in our garage. This is a cat chasing a butterfly. This is, I'm also fascinated with clocks and watches. So this is a clock face. I made a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle of a grandfather clock that actually works. It was like, I think that was only 1,500 pieces. I forget how many pieces are in this one. Here's a map of the US. These are license plates in the shape of the US. And then you see the circle map. And back over here in this corner is a puzzle that was the shape of Coca-Cola. My kids know I like big puzzles. So this is a 2,000 piece puzzle that I got, I think, for my birthday this past year. Took a little bit of time to do, but it was, fun. Okay, so again, now what am I going to do with puzzles? I found miniature puzzles, and I really like the miniature puzzles. They were colorful, they were challenging. These each had 234 pieces in them. You can see the pieces maybe are fairly small. I put them together, and then I decided instead of just leaving them lie around the house or lay around the house, I never know which, I make them into coasters. If you remember, I made coasters out of beads. So these are miniature puzzles that I made into coasters. I just bought another set of 3. I had about 9 of these. I bought another set of 3 and of Van Gogh paintings. I'm excited about doing them. So I moved from these miniatures to larger puzzles and larger placemats now. So these are placemats. Flo actually made some of these puzzles, finished some of these puzzles. Whereas the miniatures, I just coated with a like a varnish lacquer kind of thing, keep them somewhat safe from water. These I actually laminated. And what I did is I made them back to back. So you flip it over and you have another puzzle. And I try to keep the theme of like desserts or buildings and colors. And then to make it really practical, or to get a really practical puzzle, especially this time of our lives, I have a Mizrach, if it will come up. See, hold up. A Mizrach is something that was used, and is still used, to show you where east is. So when you have to pray at home, you know which direction to face. I want to give this, come on. So each puzzle, I would work sometimes on a table, sometimes in a old serving tray, which had nice borders on it, so the puzzle pieces weren't flying all over. Oh, there we go. Now it's back. And now there's the Mizrach. So this now is on one of our eastern walls. It's been that way in the house. It's been that way for a long time. It's just because of COVID now, it's become very handy. Okay, continuing with puzzles. My son got me this. It's a wood puzzle. They call it a mechanical flower. It opens up. You can see it a little bit in the background here. And inside is a lady, a ballerina. And this is where you can have jewelry. So these are all wooden puzzles that I've put together. They're a blast to do, and they actually will work. This is obviously the globe. I'm into globes with the space shuttle going around it. It's powered by a rubber band. And Flo's been very tolerant of me getting these things. Again, who needs more than one? I think I now am up to 15 or something like that. This is pretty funny. This is Flo in the background playing piano. It wasn't planned. I didn't think about it. This is called a mono wheel. And there's a rubber band you can see, and it's going to take off here in a moment. And go down our front hallway until it crashes. So that's cool. On the practical side, this is a timer. This actually can be set to run for 20 minutes, which is about the length of time that I can sit at the piano before my hands tell me that I should give myself a little break. That mechanical flower was the first thing I got. The second thing I got, of course, had to be a train. This is actually a tram. You got to put together the track and then the tram itself. And from there, I moved into puzzles that do things. So this is one of those Rube Goldberg things. So I'm actually cranking here a series of gears that move those chutes up and down that carry marbles to the top. And after the holes on the side get filled up, it drops down. I got tired of cranking, so I started to mechanize this. This is a second one. I have an addictive personality. I can't just do one thing. So this is a second one. This one is actually mechanized, if I can get it to run. And you'll see the motor in a little bit. That's interesting. We hear it running, but we don't see it, do we? at any rate, this one is mechanized. It runs by itself. The other one does now too. And my hope is, I can hear it. My hope is to eventually join the two together. Okay, staying the practical side, these are the same kind of wood toys. This becomes a holder for my mobile phone. And this is a random generator. Do you remember the black ball? You used to shake it and it would come up and give you the answer. So this does that. So I might have asked Flo a question and I got the answer yes. She then asked me a question and I gave her the answer. Let's see. I gave her the answer no. And then she still wanted me to do something and she was emphatic about it. She said, do it now. So I still play with that. I turned then back to doing some more shape puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. So this you obviously see as a globe. And then you see two vases. So my daughter got Flo one of these, I forget which one, at one point, and I wanted a second one. And they're just really nice. They work and they're pretty. To also commemorate our trips, I do what they call Lego Architecture Series. So these are scenes from the different places we visited. Most of them are ones that we visited together, some are not. This is Buckingham Palace. This is the city of Chicago. This is Venice. This is Las Vegas, and this is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And then I have some others as well. And these are really dust collectors, but they're fun. Okay, in addition to tying knots, folding paper was always fun. I did a little bit of origami. For Father's Day, maybe, my daughter got me a copy of Jane Eyre, and the book itself was marked so you could fold it, fold the pages. So this is a book. This is called upcycling. Instead of just throwing away the book, do something with it. So when you fold it in a certain way and you follow what the pattern was that they did, it turns out to say read. And it was just a lot of fun doing it and watching the letters appear as I did it. So I had to look into this a little bit further, and I found some YouTube ideas, one of which was this heart book, this book from which I made a heart. The sort of funny thing about that is the name of this book is Annoying. Flo heard about the book on NPR, and she thought I would enjoy it because I'm so annoying. The content of the book was actually why do we get annoyed? What bothers us? What as humans? What can annoy us? And then down here is different type of paper folding. It's actually making tubes. If you can see it, I think you can. This is old sheet music. Actually from books when I was a kid. So again, I upcycled it. This is a hot plate made out of paper. Okay. And that ended some of the old stuff. And then I move into the new technology, which is a 3D pen. I was very interested in 3D printing. I thought of getting a 3D printer. Decided that it would be too much like work. And the 3D pen would get me back to coloring, like I did when I won the train set. So these are two different model 3D pens. And what they do is they get hot like a glue gun, and they push out, instead of glue, filaments, plastic filaments. This particular pen can work with metal, copper, nylon, wood, and then regular plastic filaments like this one does. And I've had fun designing and making some things with that. Here again is a set of coasters. These two are actually based on a coaster that is in the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. And this one I made from a picture that was in my eye doctor's office. I just really liked the picture. I took a picture of it, printed it out, and then I used it as the model to make this coaster. I've made a butterfly. I made the Eiffel Tower, and then I made a piano. The grand piano, for that, I started to look around in clip art, found something I liked, made the different levels to the piano, put it together, and added a little bench. And it was sort of neat that the picture just happened to put a spotlight on the bench. I also made a wallet. The wallet actually works. It's a little bit thick. I might redo that. Here, going back to the religious part, here's a yacht I tried. Here's a dreidel. Here's a kippah. And the last thing I made was a little bird feeder. It's hanging out front of our house. You can see this bird seed. So that's just a lot of fun. I also was a little serious at one point and wrote a memoir. It says up here, what you can't read, my decades when I was 70. I did this. And hopefully when I'm 80, I'll do another one. And then another passion, a lot of you know, I'm into dogs. Again, I can't have just one, so we have two. The second one, I have to say, came about because of Flo wanting a smaller dog, but it's okay. He's working out. And then, of course, the biggest passion is Flo. So that's my story of what I've done for some 25 years to keep busy. And I'd like to know a little bit about what you guys have been doing.
Loren, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, what's next? What have you not tackled that you're looking forward to tackling?
Well, I'm going to try knitting. I vaguely remember knitting with my grandmother when I was little. I've tried it a couple of times recently. I've been able to cast on. I've been able to get one row and then the thing falls apart. So I'll see. I do want to go back and look at some of the beading and redo some of the things. I want to, I just got today, I'm very excited. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it to you. Let's see. I just got this today in the mail. Can you see it? It's a windmill. It's called a windmill tower.
Yeah.
I'm into windmills. This is one of the wood toys, wood puzzles.
You know what, Loren, if you want to unshare your screen, then we'll be able to see that.
Thank you. There we go. Okay, so this is the windmill tower, wind tower they call it. It's a model of an ancient tower, and they've added Don Quixote in there for a little little fun. I want to redo this wallet. Here's the wallet. You can see it does lay flat, but it won't stay. So it gets a little bit too thick. So I hope to do that again. Here's the Eiffel Tower, by the way. Some friends were over the other night, showed them the Eiffel Tower. They didn't want to touch it because they didn't want to break it. This is made with a 3D pen.
Wow.
So this is using what they call flexi plastic. My My eyeglass holder is made from that. It's a series of Mug and Dove it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I'll probably make more calendars, and I'll make more books if we ever, travel
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Um,
How about basket weaving, Lauren? Have you ever been interested in that by any chance? I could see you doing that.
I remember doing it once with my mom. We made bird nests, and I remember slacking them and whatnot and putting it outside and it blew away or something. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
That's also a possibility. I mean, there's just so much that
Oh, yeah.
people can do if they just want to do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can see behind me the calendar now for whatever month we're in, May.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Yeah.
another picture of
Yeah.
bit of-
Yeah.
You also forgot to mention that you play piano and take piano lessons, which
Yeah.
also uses your fingers, and you're quite good. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Wow.
Yes, I
Wow.
try to play the piano.
We have to fight over whose turn it is to practice the piano.
Yeah.
We fight over the piano, we fight over the computer, and we fight over a tikkun. Tikkun is the book that's used to learn a Torah portion to learn.
Uh-huh.
So, but those are the main things. We
Wow.
have some other ideas. I do like the idea of basket weaving. I might go try that again. I don't know.
Yeah. I've thought about it myself. I just haven't done it.
Well, we should do it together. You're
Ah.
the artist.
Yeah.
You can teach me. So
Hmm.
that little squeaking is our dog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can find it real quick. And I'll share the screen again. Maybe I don't have it. Okay, here's the little dog for those of you who haven't seen it. If I can find my share screen again.
What are you doing?
Here's the little one that's making all the noise right now.
Oops. No, you're
Oh.
just, it's
Yeah.
just a blank screen now.
Yeah, 1 second. You still have it? It's a blank.
Just blank.
Yeah, okay, let's do this again. We'll open this. Move this out of the way. Where's my share screen?
Lauren, excuse me, Terry said that you also do walking tours of Lambertville,
That's-
historical tours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I do that. So here's the little munchkin entertaining us. So remember how old he was when he did that?
No.
Um,
Oh, that's funny.
but isn't that cute? So you obviously have to have more than one dog. Yeah, the walking tours are fun. It forced me to learn history of the area. And if we ever get back to it, we shall offer it again. They've been doing it virtually, which have been somewhat effective, I guess, but in person is
Hmm.
better.
Hmm.
In person would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So do you know how to walk backwards while you're giving your tour?
Yeah. That's funny. My daughter, when I told her I was doing this, she said, "Dad, you're going to have to learn how to do that." So I do it. We do have uneven sidewalks in town. One of our many features, but people are generally very nice, and they'll say, be careful, you're going to, fall. So far, I haven't done that. But the tours, it depends on who gives them. But you should look into it. Some people are interested in the industry that have been in town. Some people are interested in the architecture. Some people are into the railroad history of the town. So pick and choose. Or actually you can't pick and choose, you get whoever is leading the tour that day.
Yeah, yeah. So Lauren, are these tours being offered at all anymore?
They've had them virtually and they're recorded. But so far I haven't seen that they're going to be doing them in person yet. But maybe other things are opening up.
Okay. Have you done any of the recorded ones?
No.
Oh,
The recorded ones were done by our local, they call him the city historian. He's a old time realtor. He knows the ins and outs of the town like very few people do. It's very good.
Well, just as a plug for an upcoming program, in June, we're going to be having a Share Your Passion program on day trips around here. So maybe, Loren, you can give a little bit of content about some things about Lambertville. It sounds like a fun day trip, although maybe not for you since you live there, but for the rest of us, that would be an interesting place to visit.
People, it's pretty amazing that how many people come here on the weekend. And Flo and I kid about the rush hour traffic, especially during the summers. We tend to walk because you can't drive. So it's definitely a destination city.
It's a beautiful place. It's getting to close to the end of our hour. So do we have any more questions for Loren? This has been an amazing program. I can't think all the different ways you have found to express yourself. I'm just floored.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Yashikoa, Loren.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Actually, thanks Shelley for some of the ideas too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We can talk about that when we have dinner again.
There you go.
yeah, yeah. Very impressive, Lauren. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much so. I'm going to turn off
Mhm.
the recording now. Okay.